Colleagues, we had, please confirm if you can hear us. Yes. Oh.
Testing. Can you hear us?
Can somebody respond, colleagues?
We can hear from our side. We can hear.
All right. Thank you very much, colleagues. I'm sorry for the hiccup. I don't know what's wrong, but we normally don't have these hiccups. Colleagues, let me introduce myself. My name is Matthew Skokong, and I'm the Regional Director for Midlands. And as we know that Midlands include all other offices and everywhere and other students, but we vary from Northern Cape, Free State, and Northwest. It's a very vast region. And sometimes we ask ourselves how we will cover it to make sure that we reach each and every student. Let me thank the organizers here, the local SRC, the national SRC, for making sure that we talk about this very painful aspect of student life. And we organizing that we must have workshops so that we can workshop students. Sometimes it is better when it's a peer workshop, peer to students to students and talking about some of this. Sometimes when it's us only talking to students, we tend to assume that people understand what the message that we want to put across, but the results doesn't show that. The first thing that I just wanted, today we are going to talk about the plagiarism and other aspects that are related to it. I've seen the program and I know very well that there are other aspects that we're going to talk about that are related to plagiarism. The first thing that I would just want to say is that plagiarism is a very serious academic, how should I call it, academic sin. Because if you do plagiarism, then your work will not be recognized. It's a theft within the, at its highest level within the academic environment. And therefore, no student should commit plagiarism. And sometimes, colleagues, it leads to other unwanted things. And sometimes it even delay the results, and sometimes it even delay the progress of what you are supposed to have done. Let me put it, plagiarism in a very simple term. Plagiarism is when you take the work that is not yours and you present it as if it's yours. Then it's plagiarism. When you write an assignment and you take somebody's work, it might be a book, copy from or extract from the book, and you use it as if it's yours, or it might be another person's work and you use it as if it's yours, then it's referred to or called plagiarism. And that is a very serious crime within the academic environment. Why is it serious? Because as students, we must be able to generate knowledge. And if we cannot generate knowledge, we can't take other people's work and use them as our work. Those people have worked hard in order to get that work approved. Those people have worked hard in order to get that work where it is. And we cannot just come and use it. It's just like you did not work, you go and take somebody's money and you use that person's money as if it's yours. We call it plagiarism. And once it happens to that, colleagues, in academics circle, it's very, very, very serious. Serious to such an extent that is punishable. And sometimes it even leads it to being suspended for a considerable time. And if it's not suspended for a considerable time, then what happens is that you can even be suspended for the rest of your life. Let me give you examples of how it happens. At a higher level, it's when people are writing their dissertation thesis and they go and take some other people and use them and present them as if it's theirs. And those people, they are being suspended. Some of them, they go to jail and all that stuff. On the second level, it's when people use information from the books and they use it as if it's theirs. Remember that people that are writing books, it takes them day and night to write a book to make sure that it's published. They spend a lot of money and everything. Then somebody come and use this as if it is or their own work. That is not acceptable. The other way of using it, colleagues, it is the exam one, where you use somebody's work in the exam as if it's your work, only to find that it is not your work. And I'm going to focus a little bit so that you understand what I mean by this and how serious is it. Fortunately enough, I've dealt with, for the past 3 years, I've dealt with plagiarism of examinations, which is a very difficult thing and a very painful thing to see students going through it. It is not at all a pleasure to see students going through it. Because you go through the disciplinary, you are found guilty, you are suspended. Some of the people are suspended when they are left with only one module to complete and they have to delay and wait for 3 years until the suspension is over and everything. Coming from a background and knowing exactly where our students are coming from, then I know very well that when we are about to complete, what excitement is it in the community, in the family, the parents, the siblings, and everything. And they are looking forward for you. All of a sudden, you put a full stop or you put a comma and you post what you are doing for 3 years. It is not a good thing. It happens in many ways. When we used to do examinations on a venue-based exam, it was not so much of a challenge. Why it was not so much of a challenge? Because you have somebody who was moving around the desk, looking after you and making sure that you don't bring illegal material in. But that era is gone now. We no longer do that. Even most of the companies, dear students, it's that they prefer to use online. And when they use online to assess students, either it's for job opportunities or what, it's very critical that you become ethical. I'm not sure whether it's somebody, I didn't see in the presentation where somebody is going to talk about what does it mean to be ethical. To be ethical is to doing the right thing at the right time and always being on the right. Even if all the odds are against you, you still do the ethical thing. That is, you do the right thing. Now you find that in most cases, students, they are caught up, in a storm. And this storm is what, first of all, it's an excitement that I'm writing, sitting alone in a home, in a room, nobody's supervising me. And then it's something that you got caught up with it. Your ethical behavior is tested. And if you fail to pass this first test of ethical behavior, that even if there is nobody supervising me, I can be ethical and I can do the right thing. To fail to do it, then how do you fail to do it? Is to now go and take somebody's work and present it as your own answer to a question that is presented to you by the lecturer in the form of a question paper. And because we have done that, then it becomes a very serious challenge. Somebody was asking in one of the committees, because there was a debate whether we should go back to venue-based examination or we should continue online. But what are the trends telling us? Most of the companies, when you go for the interview, you no longer go to the company. They do it online. Even if you've got practicals, they do it online. And once they catch you doing something unethical, you're completely disqualified. Because nobody wants to appoint somebody who's not ethical, an ethical person. So you are completely disqualified. Now there was this debate of what do we want? Are we going to introduce, to present students to the world that are so much used to doing things, being followed up, doing things the right way only when they are policed? And the question was, no, we cannot afford to produce such students. In other words, we must make sure that the students that we are producing here are 100% ethical. And where does it start? It starts with your assignment. It starts with your examination. It starts with it. Now, the trend that I have seen, that is, I'm just going to give these few examples, you will debate them as you go on. In the assignment is there. First of all, we don't read wide. I don't know what happened to the reading skills, but research has already shown that we are 2-3 years behind with our reading skills. Secondly, is that in the past, we used to do what is called a summarizing. In other words, they'll give you a chapter and say, summarize it in 2 pages. And don't miss key point. And when you read it, then you summarize without looking at it. In other words, you try to recall what you have done and you put it in a short version. Now, when students now they write their assignments, now they go and take extract from several books and present it there. First of all, they fail to acknowledge that I have taken this. You're referencing those who are in Midlands. I'm 100% that we've dealt with it, the issues of referencing and everything. You don't reference, you don't acknowledge that you have used somebody's work. But if you have used somebody's work throughout your assignment, what mark will I give you? Because it's not your work, it's some other people's work. That's where the problem becomes in. Then when it comes to examination, it's when you go, especially when you write online, it's when you go and quickly extract 1, 2 pages and everything, take some work and use it. That is not so prevalent. But what happened is that because you've got this gadget called computer, and you know that if, for an example, and say, what is the meaning of plagiarism? I'm going to see people putting their heads a little bit down, either on the cell phone or what, Googling it. And within seconds, you have not even a second, or not even a minute, five seconds, you should be able to tell me what plagiarism is. And you'll take it direct from Google again. Now, once you take it there, then somehow when we mark, we are going, the system that you are using for marking is going to tell us the definition that you have given, you have taken it from Google. And it can even show the time that you have taken it from Google. Then I've taken it from Google at this time and everything. And that results into a very serious plagiarism. Because you know, or the question will come and say, what do you understand by plagiarism? We want your own understanding, or define. Look at the key concepts of questions. Understand, explain, define, describe. Again, Bloom's taxonomy. Now, once you get into this, and it means use your own understanding. You have read, then you close your eyes and say, this is what I understand by plagiarism. Then you tell us what you understand. But if you are going to take somebody's work and say, no, this is what I understand, then definitely so we're not going to do that. Now, how I'm going to go straight to the heart of maybe 90% of the students that we miss fall trap to this. Those who are going through the disciplinary is the question of, there are people who will go around and say that, hey, we are aware that you are writing examination tomorrow, or in 2 days you are writing examination. If we all go, if we all going to give you, we are going to give you an answers that will make you get more than 90% for the exam. Very tempting. Testing your ethical behavior. Am I right? It tests your ethical behavior. And immediately there, then you go and say, all right, you give these people your particulars and everything. Again, they send you information and said, hey, Twara, here is the information. But these people, remember that they make money. And they realize that if they say 1,000, no student will buy it. Again, it's too expensive. But if they say 200 or 150, it's tempting. You sacrifice your scarfing for the day, you take that, you know what scarfing? Oh, then you take your scarfing, you give it to those people for 150. But they need to make more money quickly. What they do, they sell the same answer to 100 people or 200 people. And when I assure right, it's really banda. I'm not sure whether I'm using the right terminology. It's using our time, we used to banda. It's not this the one that we used to belt our trousers. It means that I've got answers for this. You understand? Now, because you think that it's your own information at 150 only, then you go into examination, you sit there, you use this information. Maybe they've even sent you have made a clip, you have hide it somewhere on one of the apps there. During the exam, you quickly move in, get that app, take it, paste it there. He is also going to do the same. He is also somebody sitting in Mpumalanga, somebody sitting in Durban, somebody sitting in Cape Town. They all got Lebanda again. Then they put it there. Then when the lecturer marks, there is a system that we use. Then it shows that 1, 2, 3, no matter where you are, You have given the same answer. Verbatim, word to word, comma, everything. You have given the same answer. And it shows that this answer is from this, and it was given to you on this and this and time. I mean, used by you on this and this and time. Then all of a sudden, when you get to disciplinary, you say, no, I don't even know the student that I copied from. You forget that when you were buying, it was not only you who was buying that Lebanta, that answer, model answer. It was everybody buying that model answer. Where are those people? They've got the 150 times 100 or 150 times 300 students, they are gone. If it's modules in law, we've got modules that got 26,000 students. If they sell to only 10,000 students, it has made them rich. They are gone. Those 10,000 students, they are going to use the same answer. Unfortunately, there's what we call spotting. I don't know whether you know it. You spot the exam. And how do you spot? You go to previous question papers. I'm teaching you now something that I should not be teaching you. You go to previous question papers. You look at the trend. You realize, okay, this lecturer likes to ask about this text. Then you go and read that text. Obvious. When these people, they do that, they can now predict. And they know that with our prediction, we'll get some of the lazy lecturers right. Sorry. No lazy lecturer, but they are lazy lecturers.
Yeah, they are lazy. They are lazy. They are lazy. That's the truth. First time you say the truth in front.
So they get them and they spot 2-3 answers right. And they have sold them to hundreds of students. And now those students, they use the same answers. After they've used the same answer, the system picks them out. And they go for disciplinary. And they got suspended. How did it get it there? Simply by becoming unethical and buying that from those people. Where do these people get your answers? I hear people say multi-factor authentication is a challenge. We have to introduce it. There is no bank that does not do multi-factor authentication. All the banks, they use it. Because if you don't use it, then somewhere, somehow, these people are going to get your information. Now, what happens is that you take your information with good intention, not bad intention. As you take this information, then you said, hey, yeah, Godfrey is the gentleman who was trying to help here, Mr. Mashi. Godfrey, can I get the 2-3 students who are doing this course, please? Then you get those students, you take your information from the secure UNISA environment, you put it on a WhatsApp. It's no longer WhatsApp, it's now X what? Is it X app now? You put it on WhatsApp, you put it on Telegram, the worst one, that one. You put it there, and immediately you put it there. These people cannot guarantee you the WhatsApp, the Telegram, the what. They cannot guarantee you a secure environment. And because these people who are doing this, is their work, is their job. When they wake up, they said, how can we rob people today to make money? It's their job. Then they get into a WhatsApp. You know the WhatsApp, Mustan? WhatsApp, Facebook, everything in Facebook. If I'm a friend to you, I've connected to you. It means that I've got the friends to all your friends. And all your friends, you understand that network. Now, it means that these people, they've got your information here. Then they phone you. Then you come back and say, UNISA, you have sold my information. Unaware. The intention was to get the students that are doing the same subject and start communicating with them using WhatsApp or whatever platform you're using. But unaware that that platform, it is not secure. That is why UNISA, when we communicate with the student, we prefer to communicate with the student using my UNISA account for my life. Because if we don't use it, the others we can't guarantee. You give us your Gmail, you give us, if that email is what, we can't guarantee the security there because it's not our platform. The UNISA platform is the only one. And that is how we get into trouble, unaware. with good intentions of getting students that are doing the same subject. Instead of coming down to Mr. Mashish and say, how can we do it in the safe environment? Then we do it in the safe environment. And when we get into trouble, you can say, yeah, you have sold my information. There are staff members here who are selling information. How did these people know that I've registered? How did these people know that tomorrow I'm studying? You know why they like to tell you a day or two that they've got the answers for your question paper? They know that students we don't read on time. Again, they know that it's last minute, you are panicking. Then all of a sudden you realize that you've got 5 chapters to cover. And they know that at that time you are more vulnerable. Then they give you information to say, we can help you. You can get 90%. Where did they get information? And you know what pained me? It's when students started coming and say that they don't get their data. It's true, students don't get their data. I don't deny it. Students don't get their data because their data goes to somebody's cell phone. Are you aware? Your data, we have picked it up, we've done everything. Now we are using WhatsApp, somebody intercept and get your number and realize it. You know what exposes the simple question, you like posting, have you received your data? You post to 100 students. But there's somebody who's, then he say, oh, Bakrea data free of that. Then he targets you, he takes your number for some time, he diverted the data, and he even studied when is the data coming. Is it the 7th of every month or what? Even for staff is the 7th. I can't remember for students when it's due. Then he intercepts it. By the time that it's supposed to get into a cell phone, it goes into his or her cell phone. How did that happen? It's because we have used the platform that is not secure. And that used to pain me a lot to say, but how do we make students aware that some of the platforms, it's how Buam goes, you are see, that's all. When you talk the gossip of the location, that's all where you use them. But you can't use them for serious matters. Don't use those platforms for your banking detail. Don't use those platforms for your student maneuvers and everything. Don't use those to such an extent that even NEFSA at some stage had that problem. When they were supposed to deposit money into your account, they deposit into your account, then I have not received my NEFSA. You've seen they put it on a public platform. I get everybody. How many of only to find that now this guy, they say, oh, this one is waiting for money. Then they start now to trace and follow your account. Immediately they know that somebody there, that somebody at NEFSA said, today we are releasing for you, Mr. Student. They intercept it and redirect it to their, because you have given them, and you even indicated my account is the correct one and gave the account number there. That is where the challenge is. And if we can stop this, then we can go along. Plagiarism, colleagues, dear students, especially when you are, I'm not saying at any stage is good, avoid doing it by all costs. I better fail the subject plain because I'm ill prepared, I did not prepare myself, rather than plagiarizing because the minimum is 3 years suspension. For 3 years, you'll not, and when UNISA has suspended you, you can't study with any other institution. For 3 years, you'll be sitting at home. What happens to you sitting at home for 3 years? It's a challenge. These are some of the things, colleagues, that we have to look at them very seriously and say, can we do them or not? I'm not in favor of returning to the venue-based examination. And I'm also of the idea that our students must, when they leave here, be 100% ethical. And how do we teach that? Through the workshop, through showing them dangers, so through some of the courses, like the CPA. If your copy is very serious, you might even lose studying as being chartered accountant. Again, you don't want the accountants that are the cheats. Again, some of the things are law. If you are found guilty and what, you might even be suspended or not be longer be allowed to practice. Because we don't want lawyers that are cheats again. So this is how serious is it. And that is my main concern. How do we make you aware that plagiarism, it is a serious crime? I call it what is it? Criminal way you go and kill people. I call it the murder of the academic student. If you do that, then you must know that you have doomed yourself and you'll no longer be able to continue with your study. And I can tell you that when you leave this institution, most of the time you are talking about, you are going to do things online. It's a trend, it's an in thing. When you go to a new work, the first day they give you this tool called computer. Then you do it online. The first thing, some of the companies these days, they even give you this tool and ask you to go and work from home. Now, if you are not ethical, then you'll find yourself staying in the shopping complex and not doing your work yet. And later on, they go and trace you and find out that you are not doing your work and say, yeah, we knew that UNISA students will never be ethical. But if we are ethical and we write online, everybody will have confidence on UNISA students to say, we know these ones. They did online examination without cheating. Therefore, they are highly ethical. We'll go after them when they come for interviews. It's simple as that, colleagues. Let's make it simple. Let's try to be ethical. Last minute things, let's try to stop them. So that because they are the one that put us into trouble. When I'm doing my things on the last minute, I've opened myself to many things. And these guys who are doing these things, colleagues, they're very clever. They are very clever. You work with their cases, you'll be surprised how clever they are. Only few cases of students who said when they register, they have cases where now they use other people's cell numbers. In Pulugwana, I was dealing with the case of 5 parents. The parents, you go there, you register. But I agree there's these advances that we get with our cell phones. You don't have a data, you buy data for, they look at your pattern. Or they see this one always buy data for 200 Rand, 20 Rand, what. The day you don't, I don't know how they know. But immediately your data is finished. They send you a note. If you want an advance, press 1. If you don't want it, reject by pressing 2. What do? You press 1, they advance you. Now, once you are in an advance and you see this advance is too much now, what do? You cancel that SIM card. You go and open the MTN SIM card. You leave the Vodacom, you go and open that one. But you forget to come and change it at UNISA. Or after you have done that, you don't tell your parents. When you register there, some parents, there's nothing wrong with your parents coming here. They show that they love you, they want to help you so that you can register. When they come there, 5 cases, I was shocked. We say to a parent, no, Baba, Mama, they want your cell phone here. Then you give the mother's cell phone. Agree you are not yet aware that UNISA gives data. Then after a month or 2, UNISA gives out data. Where does that data go to? Your parent. Your parents say, hey, I've got data free, man. Then he uses the data. Then when you are supposed to submit a sentence, Mama, where is the data? The data, no, I've used it, my child. I thought it's mine. No, it's mine. I said, okay, change the cell number now. But you know what is wrong with your cell number. Don't go for something that is enticing, that is attractive, that you'll not know how you'll go out of it. One of the things that I'm sure you're aware that when you're a UNISA or a student, in most companies, you get a discount if you produce your student card. I've dealt with the cases of many students. I had to go to Edgar's and all these shops and say to them, please, he is the student, he made a mistake. Because you get a discount, you end up with a debt that you are unable to repay it. And because it's there, even before you complete, you are already at a credit bureau. And because you're at a credit bureau and you want to go and practice as a lawyer, no body will accept you. Because you go and want to practice as a chartered accountant, Nobody can appoint somebody to look after your money when this person cannot look after his or her money. Simple as that. And that's how you get up in trouble. And that's why I say some of the benefits, use them ethically, use them responsibly, use them accountably, so that they don't put you into trouble. When somebody says, we can get you 95% or 100% pass, sure, I must say, hey, this must be a good tutor. Who makes that to get 100% pass? How does he know which tutor? Those are some of the things that you should ask yourself. And don't forget, UNISA offer free tutors. Why do you have to go and pay somebody there who promises you heaven and earth? I'll do assignments on your cell. Sometimes we sit at work and that with people who have passed that way. The first thing you get to work, you say to a person, here is the computer, here is everything. You ask, when I am going for computer literacy classes. It means that you have appointed the wrong person. In this era, we don't even think of appointing somebody who does not know how to manipulate a computer. So, colleagues, I really acknowledge and compliment the organizers of this so that you can talk about them. Some of the examples that I've cited here are those that I've investigated. I have found out that how this, because if the student's information is released by a staff member, I get worried. And it's my responsibility to deal with that staff member once I get evidence. And I can tell you that I know 5 staff members who were, even before they were charged, they skipped the boat. But unfortunately, you skip into 5 because you have already been flagged and the police are after you. So if you know of the staff member who's selling information, give us evidence, then we'll investigate. If you know of somebody who, these people who go around, this is better. Since we introduce multi-factor authentication, it's far much better. You used to register here. We registered the student here. In 3 hours, this student has already received a message that you've got tutorial classes. Come and attend, we'll get you 100% pass and we'll do your assignment. Hardly 3 hours, the student get that message. But I'm not saying that it's not happening, but it's far much better because we have introduced it. And in all the cases that I've seen and looked at them, those students are the students who insisted that they must be answered on their private email. And because they were answered on their private email, then there was a problem. So colleagues, that is how we are serious about this. Use the UNISA platform because we are accountable for our platform. You know that there was an institution, but I'll not name a name. The institution, the whole system was captured by people from outside. That institution for a week could not use the system. We don't know whether they paid a ransom amount or not. And that is exactly what these people, they do with it. Why they can't do it? Because they know that most students don't have money. But at some stage, they know that the NEFSAS will pay for you. And they are fighting for that NEFSAS, the little that you get from NEFSAS with you. These people, they want to make money at all costs. They know that you will not pass the disciplinary, you will not go a disciplinary case without being found guilty because you have plagiarized. Have you seen them after you've passed the exam or you are already disciplinary coming to you and say, hey, sorry, bro, we didn't know that you will get into trouble? Do they come back to you? No. So why should we continue engaging their services with our lives? Plagiarism is a serious academic sin. I call it academic sin. And unfortunately, there is no Jesus who can redeem you from this sin. If these colleagues enjoy it, give each other also examples and advices and how you go about it. Now I was advocating that they must take proctoring away and use the system that detects whether students have copied or not. But they said, no, let's put the student up to date. Let's continue proctoring. And there's a far much better system of proctoring that the university is developing. In 2025, it will be introduced. We are moving out from this iris and what? The proctoring tools that we are using, which is not our platform. There will be the one that in 2025, 2026, there will be the one that the university is using. And the system that we are working on, I have fought for it to be used also where there is no data. Why? Because in Midlands, I am from a very rural area, and I understand the plight of the student from rural area. That system, you can use it for something like 5 days, and then only after 5 days, then you come to here where there is connectivity, then you download and you update and do everything. To such an extent that even if you use examination where there is no data, that proctoring system will still be able to work. And it will be so light that it hardly consumes your data when you switch it on. So that is what we are working on now. And I hope that very soon it will be successful. And once it can be successful, some of these problems will be solved. At the moment, let us make everybody aware that the plagiarism will take you nowhere. It will take you nowhere. Let me that one warn you about it. In fact, it's going to ruin your future. You will not even study with any other tertiary institution. And that is very painful. With these a few words, colleagues, welcome to Midland. And I hope that you'll enjoy it and you'll be able to give each other as much advice as possibly as you can. Remember that I have also been a student, and I know that when you did not prepare adequately, what happened? And it's even worse at the distance institution, because at the distance institution, nobody tells you to come to class or not to come. We invite you. If you don't come, we continue. But at the moment, we are working on to make sure that every student has submitted, first of all, let's claim my UNISA account. Secondly, is that they have submitted the first assignment. Very painful. At some stage, we are standing at 95,000 students who have not submitted their first assignment. And when you phone them and say, oh, I forgot. Is there any excuse called forgot? No. If you happen to forget, the train passes, it will not wait for you. You'll catch another train if you are lucky enough. So colleagues, be serious with plagiarism, root it out. When you write your exam, when you prepare your exam, forget about these people who promises you heaven and earth. And at the end of the day, and they've made an amount so attractive. They know that every student can afford 150 rand. How much is it now? Has it gone down or up? It used to be 100 or I agree you don't do plagiarism, so you don't know. It used to be 150. I see somebody laughing. Enjoy your workshop, and I hope that they come to us very hard and say, what are you doing? Our students are getting into this trouble. Don't think that they don't talk on your behalf. In fact, instead of talking on, they fight us. But we are used to be fought by students. That's why they comrade. Thank you. I'm not going to be with you for because of other things, but thank you very much. And I hope this will bear result. And I can promise you, from Midlands, under the Midlands Society, nobody will plagiarize.
Thank you.
As we are speaking out, as we are speaking out, I think today I'm here, everywhere I go, people will attest. They say that I'm the person who speaks long and I take advantage of my height. But today, I can attest that whenever they accuse me, I will send them to jail. No. Yeah, no.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Thank you, colleagues. The gist of what Mr. was saying is that we should all
required by all means necessary to be ethical. But colleagues, there are speakers that are going to present in details, speaking to these issues. I would say that they will go dealt with the issues at an abstract level, but we'll get into details as the other speakers will be taking the platform. So tell those that are still on their way that it's still very crucial to be here. So without any further waste of time, because we must manage the time, you know, I don't want to say I would be beaten. And Adebogong welcomed us here. So I think we're comfortable now. My colleagues who are from Gauteng, who are from across, I think we are comfortable now. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to call the chairperson of the Midlands Regional SRC to come and give us an address and set the tone. Then we'll take it from there. Check. No,
thanks, Program Director. I wish not to be long, primarily for two reasons that take into cognizance. Firstly, that there was a delay coming there. The build-up to this proper event was delayed. But secondly, because the former speaker, Mr. Kokong, has touched on all the points, and there's not much to say. But other than that, good morning, fellow students and functionaries from different departments of the institution. My name is Omolemo Kude. I'm the chairperson of the geographically biggest region in the Midlands Region. And I want to begin first by not touching on the substantive issues of today's initiative, because those will be dealt with, like the program director has alluded. But however, I want to register the SRC's sincerest apologies, considering that we began late with the program. And secondly, that this is an assignment period where a load of assignments are required during this particular period. And students are here. We don't want to waste any other time. But what I would like to touch on fervently and proudly is that there will be lunch and refreshment. So let's just participate, listen to everything. There are questions and answers. Don't think about the food first. Let's indulge in the content of the program, ask questions. Like Mr. Kokong has alluded, it is very important and it speaks to your future as a student. One mistake, we're down. So let's participate, listen earnestly, ask questions, and wait for lunch. That will be said. Thank you very much, Program Director. We can move forward.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ivan. I have a problem with people that addresses us and leaves. Yeah, but we can come back because come around and some nothing. Okay, maybe it's from the front. Look, colleagues, we are not going to waste time. So we're going to move to proctoring tools. The presentation will be given, but I'm trying to move as fast as I can. You know, I will take cognizance that it's full, but also not much of time, you know. Some of you guys came here on time, so we want to respect that, you know. So Dr. Molina will take us through proctoring tools, and then we'll take it from there.
Good morning, students. Good morning. Just want to check. Can you hear me, colleagues? From the
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. Mr. Nkuna, can you make it full screen there, if you can? So I've got a bit of a flu, so I don't know if my voice will be audible enough for everyone to be able to hear. Can you hear me at the back? Okay. Okay. So my presentation for today is about proctoring tools. So proctoring tools are within the whole ecosystem of examination assessments, right? So the ecosystem of the examination assessment involves different LMSs. We've got my exams that is under Moodle, and my modules. Then we also have the proctoring tools, which are we also have proctoring tools, which can you move to another slide, Mr. Nkuna?
Can you see the slides, sir?
Yeah, I'm trying to share from my PC so that I can be more in control of the slides.
Thank you. Mr. Mulim, are you winning with the sharing?
Yes. That's good, I think. No, it's fine. Mr. Nkuna, just share my screen that side on the. Yeah, it's appearing, but it's only on the thing. On Teams, it's not appearing.
Thank you
Mr.
so much,
Nkuna,
sir.
just share my screen there on the. on the other side.
Okay. Which slide? The first, or the second, or the third?
I'm on the second slide.
Okay, this one.
No. Okay. Thank you. So on the proctoring tools that we're having. So to start, what is proctoring? Proctoring is replaces the brick and mortar way of invigilation. Remember when we invigilated previously before COVID, we used to have invigilators who would walk around, you know, invigilating physically. So right now we've got proctoring tools, but proctoring tools go beyond just invigilation. They also have a built-in systems that synchronizes with the LMSs that we are having in the university. So without going further with proctoring, the proctoring tools that we're using in UNISA, we've got IRIS, we've got the Invigilator app, we also have randomized MCQs. So these are quizzes for modules for all colleges with the exception of CSET. So module proctoring uses built-in camera. It's a built-in proctoring tool within module. I'm going to talk about that later, but I'm just introducing all these different systems that you are using for proctoring. Then we've got IRIS. IRIS is for take-home exams. Most of the colleges that are using IRIS is CSET. We also have for the CTA, they use IRIS. We also have now the Invigilator app, which also is for take-home exams. So all the other colleges are using, except for colleges that are mentioned, are using the Invigilator app. So all this information under each system will be dealt with later in detail. So we've got the Invigilator app. So the functionality of the Invigilator app is that it instructs students to take selfies at random. I'm not sure students here what proctoring tools they are familiar with. Is it IRIS, is it Invigilator app, and the module proctoring? So also it randomizes, or it takes records a microphone at random. It also instructs students. I'm sure when you are writing, there are times when you see a pop-up to ask you to take a picture of your ID or the script that you are writing on, so that we can make sure that that particular student is the one that is writing that exam at that particular time. It also prompts students to take a photo of your answer sheet. I've covered that. Students can upload answer scripts at the end of the session. However, very important to note that the primary platform for uploading is on My Exams. So just make sure that when you upload your script, you are uploading your script initially on My Exams. The Invigilator app is for proctoring or invigilation. It's not for uploading of examination script. However, it has a functionality that the student can use to upload from there. Also, whatever you upload on My Exams will be considered if you upload an incorrect exam. So what it's basically saying is that just make sure, like I've mentioned before, the primary platform for uploading is the My Exams. So if you upload on My Exams, say you upload the wrong script on My Exams, you have uploaded, and then you upload a correct script on Invigilator app. The only script that we're going to consider is the script that is on My Exams. So you can't come and say, no, but I've uploaded the correct script on the Invigilator app, and then the script that is on My Exams is wrong. So you need to make sure that you use the correct platform for uploading the script. So important to note, in order to determine whether your modules is invigilated by the Invigilator app, on My Exams, the UNISA 5 days before the examination, they upload all the exams, or 5 days in advance, all the modules and how those modules are invigilated or proctored. So if you go to My Exams, UNISA from, let's say today, what's the date? Let's say today, what the date is, the 8th. So until maybe the 12th, you will see the date of the examination and which proctoring tool uses those examinations. So in order for you to get to download this proctoring tool, you go to your App Store, either Google or Play Store or the Apple iStore, a day prior to the examination. But I advise students to do it even prior to that, because the system is available even days or weeks before. So as long as you are registered, you can get the application or the ability. Once downloaded, the student is expected to register using their MyLab email account. We've had issues where students are complaining that they're unable to authenticate themselves on MyLab, because once you go to the Invigilator app and you register, it will send an email to your MyLab account, and you have to be able to access your MyLab account to be able to authenticate yourself. So just make sure that if you change your number or your contact number, just make sure that you send an email to mylab@unita.ac.za so that they can update your details. On the day of the examination, the student is requested. You are requested to scan the QR code. Where do you find the QR code? You find the QR code on the question paper. You find the question paper on my exams, or on the tool that you are using, on the LMS that you are using to access your examination question paper. But also the lecturers, 24 hours before the examination, they will share the QR code so that the student is able to have the QR code even before you access the question paper. So the QR code is only available for activation 15 minutes before and 30 minutes after the scheduled start time of your examination, which means that if you are writing at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8 a.m., the QR code will be available from 7:45 until 7:30 or until 8:30. This is 45 minutes. So if you are going to try to scan the QR code after 8:30, you won't be able to get into the exam. That's why we find that students will go to my exams, get the question paper, and just write without the app. Or even if you send an email to the Invigilator app assistant team, sometimes they will tell you that no, it's fine, you can write, but just make sure or just know that the onus is with the university to either withhold your results or release your results. The students must close, but not close. This is very important. The out of app. I'm sure a lot of students have sent appeals to the university to ask, why am I not getting my results and stuff like that. Just make sure that that particular time from 7:45 to 8:30, from that time you are in the app. You don't go out of the app. You don't minimize the app. Even if you get a message, you can even put your phone on flight mode. You only need the internet when you log in and when you scan the QR code. After that, even if your phone is on flight mode, until you are done with the examination, the system won't kick you out. So just make sure that you are in the app. If you are out of the app for 10 minutes plus, you won't get your result. Access to the web page, click on the applicable modules. This is not really cover that. After completing invigilation and following all app instructions, you must upload your data on the Invigilator app and my exam portal. However, if there's a delay in the uploading of the data, you should prioritize uploading on my exams. Like I said before, if you are writing and then you are on the Invigilator app and you think you are running out of time, remember we give you 30 minutes to upload to after the examination time. Maybe the examination takes from 8 to 12, from 12 to 12:30. This is not the time for you to be writing. It's the time for you to be uploading and scanning your question paper or your answer sheet. So within that time, if you think you are running out of time, you can just close the Invigilator app, scan the question paper, scan your answer script, and go straight to my exams to be able to submit. Just make sure that you prioritize submission or uploading of material. While uploading your student, we have covered this. The student must finalize their uploading of Invigilator apps within 48 hours. Just make sure that within 48 hours, because that's why we say, if you think you are running out of time, leave the Invigilator app and go and upload your script. We give you 48 hours to be able to upload your data from the student system or to submit your recordings. So the invigilator app, you can submit your recordings within 48 hours after you've written your examination. And also, there will be emails and SMSs to ask you to upload from the invigilator app. Now we're talking about IRIS. IRIS is an invigilation software program that helps provide unique sectors with assurance of assessment integrity. Mr. Kokon spoke about integrity during the examination. So IRIS system uses video recordings, it uses sound recording, it also will capture your screen at random, so that you are able to see whatever it is that you are doing on screen. So like I said, it records your audio, video, and computer screen activity for the duration of the test. It also analyzes this information using machine learning and automatically flag potential dishonesty. When IRIS is active, it will be recording a video of you captured through your computer's web camera. It will also be recording sound from your microphone or from your computer's microphone every time it will take a screenshot of whatever it is that you're using or that you're doing on the screen. I've already covered that. The question for Q&A, please. If you have a question, please just take it down. Then after the session, we will attend to that after my presentation. So I'm not sure if the students want me to play this video on how to install IRIS. But I think the links are there. The links have been provided. Not opening. Let's give you that later. So there are specifications that are required, or minimum requirement for the system or the computer that you use in the PC. IRIS, remember, it only uses either your laptop or your PC. So the minimum requirement, that's the minimum, which is the Windows operating system, Windows 8, RAM 4 gig, 150. But for optimum performance, which is recommended, is Windows operating system, Windows 10, RAM 8 gig plus, hard drive space, 200 megabytes. You use Chrome or Edge, and make sure that your Chrome that you're using, whatever that you're using, is updated with of the latest version. The requirements for IRIS, student need connectivity at the start and towards the end of the session. Like I said before, the only time you need to be connected is when you are starting the examination and at the end of the examination. Like I said, you need a laptop or your desktop. External or built-in microphone must be used when you are on IRIS. You are not allowed to be able to be using headphones. You are not allowed to use headphones. Please check that your browser can access the webcam and microphone using the link below. So what the link below provides is that you must be able to check if your open somewhere. So what that link does, if you go to that link, it will sort of do a diagnostic. It will diagnose your microphone, your camera, and your speaker, so that sometimes we have students who are complaining that their marks are not released. But when we go and check the IRIS recording, the camera was not capturing them, or the microphone was not working, and then these are the steps that you need to take to make sure that you fully diagnose your PC and everything is recording, everything is in order. Taking assessments using the IRIS tool, start your assessment preferred browser. Start your assessment preferred browser. So this is using either Google Chrome or Google Edge or Microsoft Edge. So to navigate, you navigate to the platform. or My Exams, and then you log on with your unique username and password. You click on the link and you choose the module tab. Then click on the online assessment or e-assessment. For online assessment, iris will pop up. As soon as you click on online assessment, for e-assessment, take home, iris will pop up. And when you open the exam after you click on e-assessment, please allow microphone and camera pop up. So when you open your iris, pop-up will pop. There will be a pop-up that will ask you to allow your microphone, your camera, and your sound. Just make sure that you allow all those things. Follow the iris instructions carefully, fill in the required information, and then you can start your examination. Monitoring tools. Yeah, this is important. So monitoring your uploads, an upload manager from Iris allows students to manage their uploads more effectively and more efficiently and effectively. This feature is especially useful for users who experience internet speed or connectivity issues during their examinations. Students can access manage upload button on the bottom left of the invigilation window. I wish I had the window so that I can show you how it looks. So with the new version of Iris, you can pause and resume your upload at any time without losing the data. That's why I said you only need connectivity or strong connectivity at the beginning and at the end of your session. You can review your upload on your file and make sure that they meet the requirement and the expectation of the university. To access the new version of Iris, like I said, you have to be up to date. All your browsers have to be up to date. Either you're using Edge or using Chrome, they have to be up to date. So the student support page, there is all the information. Students that complain that their Macintosh or Mac computers are not able to work with Iris. So if you're using Mac, that is the page that you go to, and then in order to get assistance from DFAA help desk, that's the number of the call center. So we're going to module proctoring tools. Module proctoring tools, like I said, it's a built-in tool that UNISA uses if you're writing your quiz or your MCQ. But MCQs, with the exception of CSET, so all the other colleges, CSET is College of Science and Engineering. So it's a built-in system that you're using, and then it requires a laptop that is camera enabled or your mobile telephone. So this tool requires access to a student's mobile or laptop camera. Students must ensure their camera is activated in the browser settings. Once the students start MCQ examination attempt on My Exams platform, the student will be requested to activate their camera on the mobile or laptop browser. Once activated, the proctoring tool will work in the background with no further actions expected from the student. So in order to prepare yourself or to take a MOOC or to take a mock examination, that's the link. You can go to advo.unisa.ac.za, advo.unisa.ac.za, in order for you to prepare yourself before the examination to see how the module proctoring works. This is for MCQs and quizzes. So non-usage of proctoring tools will result in students must be deemed withheld unless exempted. We only exempt students who are incarcerated or disabled students. So if you are not exempted, you will need to be using this all these proctoring tools. So students and colleagues, thank you. And then remember that all these proctoring tools are used to avoid things like plagiarism and then transgressions. But my colleagues will explain the resultant actions in terms of what UNISA will do, what steps UNISA will take in order to enforce a disciplinary action on whatever it is that the student has expressed. So if there are any questions, please you can raise your. Thank you.
Mr. Malokwan, right?
Olen, no.
Milan. So sir, I just wanted to ask, like, since some of the exams of the UNITA are open book, so that is how does it work? Because I heard you said it has a voice recording.
Yeah.
So once you go into your books, won't that flag since it's an open book to get?
So remember, for all open books modules are identified,
Yeah.
and then even for the invigilator app, if students, like the other fact that I was talking about, when you are writing, you are not supposed to minimize the app, right? But for open books, we understand that the student will be using one device, and then you don't have another device. So it's imminent. You can't avoid that. So for open books, we exempt the students because it's an open book. Yes. Any other question? Yes. So if the electricity goes off, so meaning that you are not able to upload your examination script. Remember the electricity matter is something that is affecting the whole country. It's not a matter that the university can control. I mean, we are unable to assist in that regard. So unfortunately, if you have things like load shedding, remember you have data that the university provides you with data, right? So when there's no electricity, you can connect with your phone on your data and be able to upload. Are we happy? Okay, program director. Thank you, colleagues and students.
No, thank you for the presentation. I hope colleagues are fine and they've captured everything that was shown. I'm sure colleagues are going to say, oh no, this chap is not a nice guy. Why is not asking a round of applause for the presenter? But you know, I gave it to you in my heart. So, without any waste of time, colleagues, we have dealt with question and answer session. I believe that we are all happy with the presentation. But colleagues are still around, even post the program. Those who want to ask the questions in the corners will be there in the corners. But this is the right platform to ask questions. Remember, there's no stupid question. You know, any question that it's allowed here. Feel free to ask the question. Don't be like that person who will regret while it's late, saying that had I asked that question, would have not been in this situation, you know. So I'm encouraging maximum participation by so saying. Without any delays, we're going to the exam processes by Mr. Prinsloo. Over to you, sir. I suppose we're going to do the same thing. If I will be able to share. Yes. Easy.
But when we continue with one thing, which was really just taking.
It can be on the timetable, one of your normal take-home exams, or in security. The process of that lying ahead now for this first semester, the 3rd of May.
Yes, yeah.
So I hope everybody can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let's just continue with the exam timetables. I was about to say the 3rd of May is an important date in the sense that the May-June examination timetables will be released. On those timetable letters that will be mailed to all the students will also be the examination rules. And so from a perspective of plagiarism or academic dishonesty, it's important that you should read those rules that will also be appearing on the timetables that you will receive. On the timetables will also be important links, give you further sources of information that you can read and prepare yourself in terms of examination preparation. Yeah, what Mr. Moleme also already highlighted, and that I would just briefly want to share with you, is that contact number during examinations. If you struggle with technical difficulties to upload your exam file, that 08000011817 number is quite important. What I already mentioned, there's a link for a course of basic skills for online exams, which you can use to prepare yourself, even in terms of mock exams. It is always very important to be well prepared. On the day of your exam, you shouldn't be fiddling around and stress what to do and so forth. So it's always very good to exercise before the time. There's also your step-by-step guide for successful online examinations, which you can look at and read all the information there in preparing for your exams. And as I've said, that is why the timetables are very important. When you when you want to do your exam, the exam platforms are quite important. For the normal timetabled modules, you go to My Exams, and there's some specific sites, for example, that HTTPS is for CAS, the CAS college, so it will be also for example, CEDU, CSET, etc., all the other colleges. And the basic exams then that you will do on that platform is your take-homes and your multiple choice exams, the MCQs or the quizzes, as we refer to. Your exam dates and session times will also appear in your timetables. That's also, of course, crucial information. Your off-timetable examinations, your portfolios, will be done on the My Modules platform. They will have individual assessment numbers like assessment 3 or 4 or whatever. There's your formative assessments, and then there's the one for the exam, your summative assessment. And that those dates and times is also as per the assessment plan. Okay, from that brief background in terms of the exam process, I want to jump now to what Mr. Kokong has already alluded to in many aspects. But to start on a positive side, UNISA upholds the following values. Values that's the foundation, the building blocks for how we do things in terms of assessment. Integrity, as Mr. Mulemi also already referred to, is very important. Mr. Kokong also referred to that. Other values such as respect, discipline, honesty, commitment, humanity. These things underlie the way we do assessments, the things that comes into play in the background. It's underlying everything. The opposite side of that is unfortunately the fact that students try to cheat. And this whole campaign is to make you aware of the consequences of that. To rather do the right thing, as Mr. Kokong has already mentioned. Okay, it's summarized there in red because it's very important. UNISA has a zero tolerance for any form of dishonesty or cheating activity related to assessments and exams. Any student who is found to have participated in any fraudulent or dishonest activity related to assessments or exams, and there's examples, will be referred to the Student Disciplinary Unit for investigation and disciplinary action. Academic dishonesty, what it's all about, is any act that a student commits that allows them to gain or attempt to gain an unfair or undeserved learning advantage. Academic dishonesty can take many forms. So before we go to that many forms, I would just like to point out that on my UNISA, there are quite a few communications or articles that you can read about. It's the same theme, academic dishonesty, and much of these slides is coming from that information that's there for you. The types of academic dishonesty. Plagiarism has already been discussed by Mr. Kokong. It's probably the most important one. Other forms are cheating, collusion, falsification, fabrication, facilitation of dishonesty, impersonation or third-party assistance, unethical usage of artificial intelligence software. Yeah, we can look at one or two for examples. For example, cheating is when completing an assignment or taking an exam on behalf of another student. That would be a very serious transgression. That first one about plagiarism, we will just look more into it or zoom in to it in the next slide. But that is presenting someone else's work or ideas or expressions as your own. Nowadays, we are very much aware of artificial intelligence, the chat GPT that hit our society with a storm, not only the South African society, but everywhere. And not only at UNISA, but at many other universities. We go and read on the internet or social media. Is there a sharp increase in disciplinary cases because students from everywhere are trying their luck with chat GPT. To focus now more on plagiarism, with your formative assessments and also with the summative assessments, there is a honesty declaration that students are expected to complete, and that's from one such a honesty declaration. I've withdrawn the information that you see there. It's also giving in the beginning of the declaration a definition of plagiarism. That it means taking and using the ideas, writing works and inventions of other as if they were one's own. You have to make a statement. I acknowledge and understand that plagiarism is wrong. My assignment or exam answers must be accurately referenced. You must actually make a statement, or it's part of your declaration that you're doing with these assessments, that you acknowledge and you understand that it's wrong, that it must be accurately referenced. In other words, you acknowledge if it's somebody else's work. I have not allowed, nor will I in future, allow anyone to copy my work with the intention of passing it off as their own work. I understand I can be awarded 0% if I have plagiarized. Okay, contract cheating is what it says. You make a commitment with somebody else, allowing someone to access your MyUNISA account or module site to assist with assessments. The first bullet there, enlisting the help of a third party to complete examinations, assessments, or coursework on your behalf is considered contract cheating. So it's quite serious. It's very serious. The second last bullet there, some of the consequences of contract cheating include receiving 0 for an assessment or an exam, suspension, expulsion, or even revocation of a degree or credential. You can help prevent contract cheating by doing your own work. I think we've said enough about contract cheating. Is that I just want to highlight that number there, the fraud or corruption hotline telephone number, that's 0800 005 311. So students can assist with this whole campaign or counteract on things like contract cheating by using that number, by dialing it. The consequences of academic misconduct, I think we've already referred to that. Penalties can range from a 0% mark to 3-5-year suspensions and expulsions. And what is also coming from one of those sources on MyUNISA is the conviction rate. UNISA has a 98% conviction rate for students identified for disciplinary proceedings. Therefore, UNISA continues to urge students not to engage in academically dishonest behaviors. I would just like to now move to the academic records. Once the exams have been completed and you have been identified for a transgression, there are several codes, result codes. You won't be able to see it on your letter, your result letter. But on the academic record itself, there's a particular code. For example, this result code 24 means the description that will appear on your letter will say absent supplementary. The meaning thereof is a student did not use the proctoring tool as required during his first exam opportunity. Such a student is then given a supplementary. The university therefore say your mark is not recognized, it's not released, but you can go and write a supplementary. That's the first one. The second one is basically the same. It means script rejected. That's the wording that will appear on your letter. And that is exactly the same as with the previous one. You didn't use the proctoring tool, Invigilator app or whatever. So the system detected you, and it will automatically give you this result code, which is then reflecting on your letter as script rejected. The difference between the previous one and this one is that with the previous one, the student can still get a supplementary because there is another opportunity. Remember, all students get 2 exam opportunities when you register. Under normal circumstances, for a postgraduate student, you get your first opportunity, but you're sick. You apply for a SIC exam or an EGRITAT exam, and that's then your second opportunity. After the second opportunity, you must re-register. The same applies with these transgressions. It falls between the same brackets. There's a first opportunity and a second opportunity. If you already write a supplementary or an EGRITAT or whatever, and there's a problem that you're not using the proctoring tool, there's no further opportunity, and that's why result code 28 is then granted. The system will detect there's no further opportunity, and you then required to re-register in such a case. The result code 29, the wording is disciplinary pending, and Mr. Shivambu, my colleague, will have further discussions on this one, but this is where lecturers during the marking process will pick up that there was a serious transgression and you must go for a disciplinary hearing. And so this result code 29 is then the outcome of that flagging or identification. There are other codes as well. For example, code 90 is when the script is not visible. The lecturer can't read it to mark it. Maybe the scanning, there was a problem with the scanning or whatever. It is the same 2 categories that we discussed so far, your first opportunity and your second opportunity. If there's still room for another opportunity, result code 90, that is why it says deferred unreadable script, you can get another opportunity. If it's if this happened during your second opportunity, it ends up in a result code 91, which has the wording cancelled unreadable script. The next 2 categories, a 92 and a 93, is where your script has a password. So nobody can open it, and we can't get hold of you to ask you for the password. So the end result is the script cannot be examined. There's a password, so it's locked. It's not accessible. Then it's the result code 92. If there's still another opportunity, and 93 if there is no further opportunity and it must be cancelled due to the password. A very general category is the next one, result code 94, or the so-called out of app, which means you were out of the inverted the app for longer than 10 minutes. So the system detects you and it automatically gives you this result code 94, and it says proctoring non-compliance. And 94 is again when you have another opportunity, so you're given a supplementary. 95 means you already had your 2 opportunities, you can't get a further opportunity. The consequences, very briefly, if there's no mark due to all these different result codes, whether it's a result code 29 or whatever, there's no mark, which means you cannot follow the post-exam opportunities that's available. For example, a remark, because there is nothing to remark. There's no, you will not be identified for a final year concession, for instance. If you are about to finish or complete your qualification, there won't be a supplementary or a deferment if it's a result of 29, pending disciplinary, and there also won't be the benefit of purchasing your exam answer script. Colleagues and students. So there's some few important email addresses that you can use. For example, exam disability is when you are, for example, suffering from blindness, or a tetraplegic person, you're in a wheelchair, you can't use your arms, and cerebral palsy. There's many examples. So such students can use exam disability at unisa.ac.za to apply for extra time to enable them to complete the exams along with the other students. Religious students, that first one is when the exam is scheduled on a Saturday, for instance, and you cannot do it because of your religion. Your church does not allow something like that. UNISA will allow you to take the exam on a different date if you are able to provide a letter from your church, from your pastor, and he confirms that you are very committed, a member of the church, and they will definitely not approve it that you write your exams on a Saturday or whatever religious day. The most general one, that third one, exams at unisa.ac.za, the one for purchase scripts, and the one for remark at unisa.ac.za is also available. These also appear on the timetable letters, on the result letters, or on my UNISA. That's it from my side. Thank you very much.
I think we've heard everything. Are there any questions to Mr. Prinsloo? DP, you're number 1. Any other hand? Number 2? Okay, number 1, shoot.
Yes, thanks very much for the presentation. Well, my concern is with the practicing of scripts, because we've got many cases at national of students who wanted to follow the procedure of buying the scripts, but it takes time for them to get responses or even get the opportunity to even see the scripts. So what is delaying the process in that regard? Because I don't think it is effective. So we want to understand what is the problem behind the purchasing of scripts in the turnaround period. Thank you very much.
Let's take number 2 and then you answer all of them. Number 2, shoot.
My question is on the script rejected issue. If a student says, I wrote 2 exams in the same day and I've submitted them the same way, I've used the Proctoring tool, but one exam results claim and says script rejected, are you able to provide proof from your systems that shows to the student that no, you didn't use true volumes and saying.
Yeah, that is what the previous speaker, Mr. Moleme, has already alluded to. We get reports for these various proctoring tools, and one can go again into these systems, these tools, reports, and check what actually transpired, what actually happened, yeah, if there was a technical problem, whatever, we can follow it up. We can go back and check everything is possible.
Okay, just to follow up. So if I just joined late, so if they got that problem, where can they direct the queries to?
There, I didn't point it out on the slides. There was an appeal link. A link, it says appeal, which you can click on to take you to an electronic form which you can fill in, and you can state your case, explain your circumstances, and make an appeal if you don't agree with what with the outcome of your exam. So yeah, there is an appeal process.
Do you mind if you can just welcome?
Okay, let me just go back. Yeah, for example, that one where it says script rejected at the bottom here in blue, it says a non-compliance with proctoring tools appeal form. But it is again provided to all students once the results are released. We do it on a staggered basis, not all at once. So as soon as a module is signed off and your results become available, you can see your marks, you can see the outcome or whatever, but on your result letter, even also on a post-examination, a general letter, a general communication to all students, it will also be available. It is usually towards the end of the exam period, it is released to all students.
Then there was the question of
Yeah,
the
purchase script. I'm not sure if there was a technical problem with these applications for the purchase scripts, because we got complaints from the academic staff as well that they would ask our section what is going on with the purchase scripts. I remember at one point I took it up with the supervisor in my area, and she said she also doesn't understand what's going on because they are up to date, and there are very few applications. So all I can think of is there was some technical problem somewhere that these applications didn't filter through to the platform where we deal with them. So must still be discussed or taken further with ICT, that we can see what is going on there. But on various platforms and in meetings that we had, the problem was brought to our attention that there's definitely something wrong with the purchase script applications. So, but unfortunately, I can't say exactly where the problem was. But we are aware of that.
Last round of hands. Then we are closing. Last round of hands. What means there are no questions? It's closed. Eh? There are no questions. At the back, were you stretching or you wanted to ask? No, it's fine. Thank you, Mr. Fresco.
Thank you
for the presentation. We can give him a round of applause now.
Just detach this cable.
When
Thank you.
It's fine. So colleagues, in Zonkole, I know that under the circumstances, perhaps we can get additional. Maybe because like we said, it's down for quite a long time. Oh, hi. So yeah, colleagues, I can give you just 2 minutes break to just stretch, just 2 minutes. Then we'll continue because we want to push as quick as we can. We are left with 2 speakers. So we should continue. Yeah, no, it's fine. But that is one. Over to you. Colleagues, I want you long. Anyone with a stopwatch, I want to do this in 10 minutes. That's enough. And the program is already taken. I can get my presentation. There's nobody on that issue. Presentation. It's yours. Don't forget to unmute them for comrades in the online platform.
It's not showing on the screen, I'm not sure.
We can hear Ntate Shubambo. Thank you, colleagues.
Why not get the toy when? Open or tweet.
Colleagues, my apologies, I'm not sure what's happening here.
Go to, if you say layout and then content only. There. Read this thing of view.
See now.
Stop sharing for a second. We'll come back. Which one is the?
I need to do the type of sharing.
Where's the? Yeah.
Okay.
You choose the way.
Yeah. It's fine. Can just.
Colleagues, I hope now I'm on 3 minutes. Like I already alluded, my name is Nomar Lanchwam. I'm responsible for student disciplinary at UNISA. Most of you've registered with UNISA for various reasons, but the gist of my presentation is to say if you do not going to follow what Levi has said, Mr. Prinsloo has said, it will land you in our office under student disciplinary. So in a nutshell, colleagues, our office, we are responsible for more or less these things that I'm going to talk about, the general principles, the exam, the examples of misconduct, the policies and procedures, challenges with the online exam that the Hukong has already spoken, it falls under the prevention and raising awareness, therefore the way forward. When you go register online, there's a button that you click that says you are accept to be bound by the rules and policies of the university. One of the policies is the student disciplinary code. So the student disciplinary code is responsible for upholding the name and reputation of the university, the maintenance of order, discipline, and security within the university. If comrades decide that maybe tomorrow they're going to close this campus and then there will be consequences and we'll deal with them under that one of maintaining order. Ensuring the integrity of the academic process and the quality of the assessments, that's what we're referring to the exam, be it formative, summative, and the postgraduate assessment method. So the examples of misconduct, colleagues, under the Student Disciplinary Code of 2014, we do have harassment, which amounts to assault, discrimination, threatening behavior, sexual harassment, plagiarism, which we've already touched on this morning. Plagiarism comes in many forms. Misrepresentation, for instance, when you graduate, we go back to the first time you applied, and if we pick up that most of the certificates that you have used to apply to NISA, it's forgery, then we charge you with fraud. You find someone who says, I passed my matric in 1994, but the certificate is got Umalusi emblem. Malusi was not back then was not that UNISA. So that's what we're referring to. It might be in the form of an academic record where one doctors their marks to gain a favor in terms of employment opportunity. Examination irregularities, you'll remember in the venue where we used to have invigilators. If venue will give instructions that you're not supposed to have unauthorized notes, close your textbooks, you mustn't write notes on parts of your body. If you want to go to the loo, you must raise your hand. If you don't have a calculator, you don't tap the person next to you, you raise your hands. That's what we're referring to. Ghostwriting and making use of service providers, we've already touched on that. Currently, the danger that we have, colleagues, most of our information is available on Google. It's available on Stuvia. It's available on Give Me Notes. I can challenge you now, if you do a Google exercise, you take up to your phone or tablet, take one module that you are studying and say PYC 4805, assignment number 2 answers. You'll be shocked at what you'll pick up. And then the website that I'm referring to, that's where some of our material, we get them. Now, the last bullet point, one will say, what do you mean by understanding and acceptance of academic activities? The Student Disciplinary Code says the SRC that you nominated, I gather they used to harass you that they are lobbying you. Now they're in office. Their role is to protect you when it comes to issues of assessments and where you are facing financial exclusion. This page, colleagues, is more or less once we have identified you as a disciplinary pending. So let's say you submit your assignment, for instance, and then your assignment, we picked it up, but that has got elements of cheating on it, or your examination, where we say, for instance, and I'll give you an example, those who are doing law, we do have people who are doing law, right? Mm-hmm. There's one demonic module called RRLLB 81. Which seems to be frustrating students. Part of the instructions there, if you read your tutorial letter, it says in the College of Law, we use OSPOLA way of referencing, and we want you to use it from assignment 1, 2, and 3. So once you have submitted your assignment, there's a tool that we use called Turnitin. Turnitin is a tool that used to detect originality. If we say to you that you're going to write an assignment, you choose your topic of Ubuntu. When we define Ubuntu according to your own understanding, and that's where most of the students, they seem to get it wrong. It's very important to read some of the instruction. For instance, we've got a question paper that will say this is an open book exam. This is an open book exam. You will get a question that says, according to your own understanding, explain to us what weather means. It's an open book exam. According to your own understanding, describe the word weather in your own understanding, meaning you mustn't go and page through the textbook, because once you do that, it's more like a cut and paste. So according to your own understanding, you must explain to us what weather means. We do not want the textbook theory that you have learned. So most of the students that we have picked up is that they end up being flagged because they do not read some of the tutorial letter that's given that you should peruse before you do your assignments. Number 2, that 15 minutes that you used to have in the venue base, it's still there in an online to say, download the exam question paper. You've got 30 minutes to go through it, because once you miss the instruction, therefore, you will end up committing any of these acts. One will say that when I received my results for May, June, I had a disciplinary pending. A disciplinary pending comes in many forms. Under Mr. Levi, for Invigilator app, we do a disciplinary pending for microphone test failure. What do you mean when you say microphone test failure? It's not an offense to be sitting in an internet cafe and writing exam. And then we hear the sound in the background. Does the sound that we hear on the day in question relates to the exam, what was being examined? If it's no, even though you have failed, we will release your results. But then you get people who will sit in an internet cafe and say, my friend, I'm done with question 1. Please pass it to me. I'll give you question 2. There are instances where it happens. We understand we've come from different geographical, locations where you are in a tiny small house and it's many of you and your siblings. We do not say because there was noise in the background, that means you cheated. No, we download that recording, we listen to it. If you are writing criminal law, for instance, and then we can hear in the background, you are asking someone, what's the definition of murder? Then we can say, maybe you were cheating because there's this noise. Then under Invigilator app, there's what we call GPS. You might be sitting in Rustenburg, I'm sitting in Malamlele, somebody is sitting in Kuruman. But all of us, we have the same answers from question 1 to question 4. What the lecturer does is to say, they put those 3 different scripts and check and say, in terms of the thought process, is it correct for a student who's in Rustenburg, Malamlele, and Kuruman to have the same answers? Meaning, we might have been a victim of a service provider. A service provider, it's those people that immediately after registering, you find that they say, congratulations, we know you are registered for these modules. We can assist you to pass your assignment and even your exam. These days, they even take it further. They say we can even beat the proctoring tool on your behalf. So those are some of the challenges that we have within the university in terms of service providers and the popular violations. And those SMSs that you receive on its own, it's a violation because when you registered with UNISA, you never considered to sharing your information. In a minute before I sit down and close, what is it that we need to do in relation to raising awareness for plagiarism? We need to educate you to say, this is the dangers of committing acts of academic misconduct because it will be a futile exercise to punish students without educating them. Where you've got challenges in relation to tools that you use, because we have picked up, for instance, there are students who will say that when I submitted, my UNISA was down. When I submitted, Turnitin was not working, and the assignment that I needed to submit needed to go through Turnitin. So those are some of the challenges that we have within the university in relation to plagiarism. With the online coming into place, we do have challenges where we need to improve on, but I think for now, that's where we are in relation to plagiarism. When you get hold of us, you can email us at examscripts@unisa.ac.za, or alternatively, you can send me an email. That's my email address there. But in a nutshell, colleagues, those are the information that I wanted to share with you. Turnitin has been introduced at an undergraduate level. You will be required for certain modules to submit them through Turnitin. But in a nutshell, colleagues, that's what our office does. We are responsible for student disciplinary within the university, and it encompasses or cuts across all discipline. To a point, let's say you're sitting now in the lab and somebody slaps at you. That's our case. We need to deal with it. You cheat, that's our case. You try to be fraudulent and then you submit another person's submission. And before I close, those who are writing exams in the computer labs, you must be very careful on the files that you save. We do have cases where 2 students will submit the same work. So I go to the lab only to find that the same desktop that I see there, another student was submitting an assignment and he saved it on the desktop. I just changed the declaration and then I submit. Then what normally happens, we check who submitted first between Mr. Shiwambu and Ntatema Wutla. Ntatema Wutla will say, no, I submitted my assignment at 12:52. I submitted at 1 o'clock. So that means I might have taken his work and submitted. So you must be very careful when you make use of computer library, because that's where information or the files that you have saved, they get stolen and being passed. So colleagues, with that being said, I apologize for being all over. I said 5 minutes and I'm still right. Okay, so with that being said, colleagues, I'm going to pause here, but if there's anyone who feels that they won't sleep peacefully without asking a question, now is the correct time. Thank you.
Indeed, you took actually 3 minutes. We must applaud you.
for that. Colleagues, any question for Mr. Shibambu? You colleagues are very nice, lenient. You are leaving them, you know. Hey, you must question them. You are number one. You are number two again. You are number three, Chairperson. Number one, shoot.
My question is based on LE. Sometimes we submit an assignment, they say 77% similarity. Sometimes the lecturer will say, no, it's fine, you can submit or not. Then sometimes you find that it's 40% similarity. How does this technically work about? In actual fact, which percentage is allocated for you to say my script is safe, I can submit?
Chat number two.
My question is on the disciplinary hearing process. I heard you explain a bit how you do your investigation, but do you, how long, if a student checks his or her results and says disciplinary hearing, how long does it take for that student to get feedback? And after doing your investigation, do you include the student? Do you call the student to explain or sit with the student what happened and stuff like that?
Chat number three.
The question relates to two particular things. Number one is the admissibility of the evidence. What kind of, or what qualifies a document to be evidence, to be considered as evidence? And I'll tell you by posing this question. It's because we have had encounters with institutional management and past professors. And the evidence upon which we were summoned to disciplinary hearing in our respective group was not admissible. So I want to understand what considers the document or anything admissible evidence. That's number one. Number two, I want to speak to how these cases are determined. Are they determined on a balance of probability, or are they determined beyond the reasonable doubt? There's evidence coming from student A saying 1, 2, 3, and student B saying 1, 2, 3. How do we determine the precision of these evidences produced from two opposing texts? What is the mode, if you may, determine evidence? Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Let's leave the two questionable questions and start with the easy one of Turnitin. So Turnitin, there's no, it varies per institution. I'll give you an example. At UJ, you don't submit an assignment with 15% and above. That's 10%. But at UNISA, the Turnitin office will say even a 2% similarity can be cheating, and I'll tell you why. Most on the Turnitin, the Turnitin is there to taste your originality, your own intellectual thought process. Similarities is just a comparison of other sources that you might have used where the same thought process that you claim is yours might be similar to other academic scholars. For instance, if you are doing, and I'll go back to law, if we go to law and say, according to your own understanding, define what matter is, and you go and take it from Sneeman, the definition. The question was according to your own understanding. In your own understanding, you should have said murder is the unintentional killing of another human being, right? So the most question that we have in terms of the similarity, you find that a student who will have been flagged at 75, 40, and the lecturer says, go ahead and submit. For me, that's the lecturer misleading you because he's supposed to break down the similarity index for you to say, even though you have used footnotes, you might have forgot to paraphrase because that's where most students are flagged. They will go to the textbook of law of delete and saying, in terms of vicarious liability, this is where I got my answer. But the way in which you have done it, it does not follow to the academic integrity standards in terms of paraphrasing, because once you read too many things for law, law is all about reading case law and you can pass, you can leave the study guide. So most of the time students are being flagged for failing to properly paraphrase, and they put footnotes hoping that they've already cited the source correctly, and it's not. Because if you look in the College of Law, when we say or scholar, it forces you to say, if you're going to take information, you must pull double connotations and so forth and everything. You go and take case law. If we say the right to life, you take it from, S versus Makwanyan. You can't change it in your own way to fit the answer that you want because it dilutes the judgment. So there is no acceptable similarity because now we've picked up students to reduce the similarity. They cheat the system by putting I before each and every sentence, and Turnitin doesn't pick it up. But now Turnitin has been updated now that we can even pick up students who are making use of ChatGPT now. We do flag them, and then there's another one called cheat code. So there is no similarity in terms of the Turnitin. In terms of the time period for a student who's flagged who has written in October, November 2023, a DC pending in December, we close, it comes back another year. It's still a DC pending. There is no timeline in terms of the prescription period because more or less the students that are being summoned for DC, we have to look in terms of the case itself, in terms of investigation, the level of the study of that particular module. Someone who's an undergraduate first year cannot be treated as a fourth year LLB student. This one is already doing an honors. So the level of academic maturity is different. But if you go and look at the policy on academic integrity, it says that 3 cases that we need to look at. 1 and 2 are minor contraventions, where it's your first year, second year. This one, category 3, are cases which have a potentially of reputational damage for students who are senior. So if you've got a CTA who's been flagged as a DC, obviously is different from a first year student. Therefore, in terms of the timeline when we invite you for discipline, we normally do them through teams. The National SRC has got a seat within the Student Disciplinary Committee. So, as I say, it doesn't have a prescription period as to when you can be called, but now we're trying to fast track cases quicker because we've picked up that there are students that you find that they're only left with 1 module and it's indicating DP. So the sooner you assist them, the better. Coming back to your cases, I think it's not a question per se. It's more or less like trying to find closure on the previous module. Because if I were to answer you, the standard that we use is balance of probability. It's not criminal beyond reasonable doubt. The committee that's it's made of the chairperson from College of Law and representatives from the various colleges so that there's transparency, there's no biasness. In terms of evidence, that's we can debate it, but me and you can take it off the record for interest of time because evidence, it's big if we were to apply the law of evidence, but I know it's a personal question. We can take it off record.
Any other hands? Number 1. This is the last round on the presentation, Mr. Swan. Going once, or number 2, number 3. Going once, twice, number 4. Going once, twice, it's gone. Number 1, shoot.
I just wanted to ask, like, when you get flagged, do you get a warning before you're taken to DC, or do you go straight into DC when you get flagged?
You get a warning. So let's say you're flagged in an assignment. We give you a warning. The lecturer will say, well, for this assignment 3, I'm giving you a mark of 0 because you failed to follow the rules. Therefore, if you are flagged again, we'll call you a repeat offender because even though you're given warning to change your behavior, still didn't change.
Your punishment, you won't be able to finish. Number 2, shoot.
Online, it's just a lot. It's just a lot to even remember, you know. So isn't it better for the institute because of they also see for it that there's just more destinations than they are positives because of the whole system. isn't it better? Because if I'm writing and I'm home, let's say it matches with what area is in the village, right? And sorry, I decided to be informal. And it happens that it rains, that a work happened. I don't really have help where I am, you know? So I'm gonna be flagged because of that. So isn't it better for the institution to just basically give you venue-based exams?
Picture number 3. It's you, yes.
Yes. I'm not visiting, or rather going back to history, but because we are talking about disciplinary codes here, which we have to obey, I want you to help me in terms of the interpretation you have for section 6.3 that talks about temporary suspension, because one can be suspended before the hearing takes place, and it's special. But now I want you, as a presenter, to give us your own, or rather, how, with your experience, have you ever interpreted the section to say?
Number 4.
Campus, and I only to find out that I'm writing an exam. There's another student writing an exam in a computer center. So we are 2 in the room. So I want to know, will the location, when we are using, let's say, invigilator app and it picks up the very same location, how are we going to deal with that? Because we both want to write an exam.
Checked. Let's start with the issue of location. Like I said and alluded earlier, sitting in one place to write an exam is not an offense. And for the fact that you are raising it, it's genuine to say, maybe I'm going to the lab because I know I'll have load shedding it too. So let me move to a place that's got a backup or whatever. You will have that GPS failure, but it won't flag you to say you are a disciplining. You will only be a disciplining when the lecturer says, okay, I see that these students were sitting in the same location at the same time, and the 2 of them have been flagged as a disciplining. Let me zoom in on the examination answer book or their submissions. And if they zoom in and they find that beyond being in the same place, which is not an offense, but it might appear on balance of probabilities that you might be working together in common purpose to answer the examination questions, you might be flagged. But generally, that's on its own, it's not an offense. But it's only an offense when they go and zoom on your answers, both of you, to say, you were at the hub at the same time writing the same paper, but the same mistake that you made for question 1, I made the same mistakes. Question 2, you got it correct, I got it correct. 3 and 4, we got it correct. For instance, let me give you an example with College of Accounting. They were given a permission to use a calculator in an exam. Question will be calculate 27,000 plus 3,000. The answer is supposed to be 30,000. But this group of students all arrive at 32,000 and they were sitting in the same location. So sometimes because you take it and then you just put it there. So it's those things that will make you get flagged, but it's not an offense to sit in the same venue. The issue of going back to venue-based, yeah, that's a very controversial one. There are challenges with the online exam, but it comes with the reason. Okay, maybe let me go back. The reason we went to online exam, if you remember, it was due to COVID, right? COVID started in March 2019 on the 20th. So to salvage what was left of the academic year, we decided, let's go to the online environment. Now, the question will be, we've invested so much in the platform in terms of the module system and so forth. It will be futile exercise for us to go back to venue-based, because now we've got system that we've invested millions and millions of amounts in terms of trying to deliver this type of assessments. In terms of the suspension, if you read the student disciplinary code, it says the student disciplinary code is under the guardianship of the registrar. He can suspend you for 30 days. He's got that discretion. The registrar has got the discretion to suspend you. So there are 2 types of suspension. We can suspend you on campus for 30 days on the fact that maybe you were involved in a fight. We want the business of the university to continue. But if we do not suspend you, we might find that you might come the same following day and interrupt service. I always say to people, I've never charged any SRC leaders. It's them who poke fun at us and say, yeah, come and get us. It's not our job. We don't want SRC leaders. But the issue of suspension, it goes back to say we want to remove you based on the behavior that you have displayed. We are not sure you might even come back in the few coming days. So we are removing you and suspending you for 30 days. It's a temporary suspension. Therefore, there is a suspension that when you come for disciplinary pending and you say, well, I know I've been charged for plagiarism, I plead guilty, I want to ask for lenience, and they will say, fine. Even though you plead guilty, there needs to be some corrective measure that we must put for you to learn and appreciate your consequences. Therefore, we're going to give you a cancellation and you are suspended for 6 months. So that one, it's an issue of the registrar because the student disciplinary code, when you read it, it says it's vested in the office of the registrar.
Oh, thank you very much, Latishman.
Oh, you see.
Before, yeah, we want to use for the next. Before you disconnected. Colleagues were running, were actually, I think I'm driving at a nicer speed. We've managed to recover the time that we've lost. But also I want to add a comment on the controversial question that was posed in the House to see that why the institution does not consider going back to venue-based, you know. Fact of the matter is that UNISA is a hotel. It used to be an hotel. And the current VC, when she came in, said it's a comprehensive distance learning institution, you know. So colleagues, it would be very controversial, you know, when the other institutions are getting into terrain of UNISA. And then we as UNISA, we go back to the terrain of the other institutions. It's more of regressive, you know. The only thing that we should be questioning and the only thing that we should be challenging is the systems of the UNISA to be up to standard, to work and ensure that they don't inconvenience the students. But it would be a problematic statement to say that we should revert back to the venue-based simply because of the students tends to forget, you know, the administration of the exams, you know. I mean, those are the basic things that we need to get them right. For as long as we are getting thank you, Tatesh Wambo. We can give him a round of applause. So as I'm closing my statement, it would be very problematic to say that we should go back to venue-based simply because of the students, you know, tend to forget, you know, the nitty-gritties that they need to put in place before the exams, you know. We are in a learning institution and just to emphasize the post-matric institution, you know, where you do not have a shepherd to remind you what to do. You are responsible to do your task. And if institution has fulfilled its part, then the onus lies with you, you know. But the only thing that we need to, and I'm speaking as an institution, to safeguard is to ensure that we don't compromise or we don't inconvenience the students, you know. So with that being said, I'm going to call our last but not least speaker, the National Deputy President of the SRC, to take us through the role of the SRC in the SDC processes or procedures, and then we will engage him. Then I'll come back after. Over to you, DP.
Thanks very much, comrades and students. My name is Clarence Mabutla. I'm the National SRC Deputy President, and today I'll be presenting on the role of the SRC in the student disciplinary procedures. So, first and foremost, we must understand what is the SRC. So the SRC definition is the Student Representative Council in the institutions of higher learning as empowered by the Higher Education Act of 1997, Act 101. So in UNISA, there are two levels of SRC, namely the regional SRC, led by Chairman Gumulemo, and then there's national SRC, which I'm part of. So the regional SRC primarily deals with issues within a specific jurisdiction. Like for instance, Chairman Gumulemo and his collective, they are responsible for the Midlands, this hub and its centers. So they can't represent issues of Limpopo, Tshwane, or Joburg. So when you are also fighting issues, you must know who to speak to. You can't just jump from Omolemo to me. You must start with him, then he must come to me. And then also, the National SRC is the highest decision-making structure in the student governance, and it is responsible for the day-to-day operations of all regional SRCs and the representation of its constituency in various university forums and committees. So in a nutshell, the National SRC, it is the highest structure whereby we are responsible for all the SRCs of UNISA, Midlands, Tshwane, Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and then we are the ones to actually receive the grievances from regional SRCs, which are the custodian of students or the primary stakeholders in regions. And then they bring the issues to us. Then it will be us to go to council, where President is sitting with the SG, IF, where I am sitting with the ETO, and Senate of Academics, where the undergraduate officers sitting and the postgraduate officers sitting. So you must know the difference and not confuse the two going forward. And then also, Mr. Jivambu touched on the issue of disciplinary issues, the DP or DP pending. Yeah, DP. So first thing first, what is the SDC? SDC is the Student Disciplinary Code. And then this code is a policy document which was adopted by the University Council in 2014, which is aimed at maintaining law and order, like Mr. Jivambu alluded, upholding the academic integrity and quality of assessments for the students' population of UNISA. And then also, by virtue of accepting the terms and conditions during the registration period, like Mr. Jivambu was saying, well, there's a small button or a small dot there when you register there, that I accept all the terms and conditions and whatnot. Once you click that button, so that you can be registered, then you're binded by the Students' Disciplinary Code. So you mustn't be shocked to say you must appear and be like, no, I want to bring my lawyer or whatnot. The processes which now limit you and gives you certain rights and also limits you. So the role of the SRC in the SDC is that the SDC empowers the SRC in section 4, subsection 4.2 to represent the students to the SDC proceedings. And how do we mean by that? If let's say maybe we are charged for plagiarism, there are only two categories of people who can represent you, namely the university staff, be it your lecturer, be it a supervisor or whomever. The other person, the other category is the SRC. If you are charged and want to bring a lawyer, it don't work. Or your mother or your aunt, forget about it, it don't work. So the SRC is empowered. That is Womolimo or any SRC member that you know is eligible to represent you in the SDC proceedings with one member of the National SRC given an observer status, and I am that person. I'm the one to sit there to ensure that all the processes are fair and transparent. I'm more like the police or the police officer of that office when they are presiding over your cases. So I must ensure that your rights are protected at all costs. So any student flagged for academic misconduct has the right to approach any SRC member, either regionally or nationally, for representation. Like I've alluded, not so long ago, we had the induction of all SRC members, whereby we're inducting them on the disciplinary processes the tools and whatnot. So there's no SRC member who will say, I don't know the processes of assisting you with your cases. Like for instance, you'll find maybe a chairperson, normally, St. Clarence, please deal with this case of disciplinary for me. And I'm shocked, right? But how is that even possible? Because even you are eligible by virtue of you being in office as an SRC member. You are eligible to go and represent your constituency in this during these circumstances. So students, you must know that the leaders are responsible for you the very same way they came to you for your vote, the very same way got the power to approach them on these issues related to disciplinary. So failure to get assistance from any approached SRC member, the concerned students may reach to the National SRC Deputy President for allocation of a representative. Let's say maybe you go to Chairman Romulem and Nobala. You say, comrades, please assist me with my case. They say, now are busy, you don't know these things of your charge sheet, don't know what you want. I come after 3 days. And at that time, you must appear maybe in a week or so. So I can be the person to look around to say, who can I give you to represent you in the proceedings? Because I can speak there and defend you, but I'm there to just check the processes. But I'm eligible to say, but hey, you did law and you're a chairperson, please take this case of this student because I've searched around and there's no proper representation for this student. So if there's a case whereby now you are unable to find a representative or a person who can advocate for you, can reach out to me and then I'll find that person for you. And then also, what constitutes academic misconduct? Now, firstly, it is plagiarism. I think they've touched on it a lot, like taking ways, ideas, and making them like they're yours, copying and pasting, not including references to your academic work. And this is very important because most students, like for instance, in their second level or third, first and second, don't even start their work properly, and then they're just let like they just let off the hook like that because you are still coming through the process. Not because of that tendency, you take it to the last lap now. You do it, they say, but you didn't reference this work, and it is not your work. They do what? They flag you. They are good to turn it in and whatnot. So that thing you must be very careful of it. And also, students have got a tendency now of taking work. They take a portion of something in the study guide or the prescribed book. They go to Quillboard, all these tools of yours. You paraphrase it. Trying to act smart, with that nice English. Don't cite it. Or this is not my work, even though it's paraphrased, but still it is not your work. So you must be able to acknowledge the primary source of where you got that information to avoid constituting an academic misconduct. And then also cheating, which includes, but it's not limited to the following: copying the work of another student during assessments, allowing another student to copy your work, your academic work, buying of scripts with answers from tutors or from the internet, sharing of assessment answers in Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, and etc. Let's say, for instance, number 2, there's all students, even me, I'm a student. Let's say maybe my friend is Obako. Maybe I wrote an assignment which he doesn't understand, but I'm like, my man, you're my friend, you take this work of mine, paraphrase it. Because this man is lazy, he just changes the cover page, morphs it as well. Mr. Shivambu now comes and flex you. Say, my man, where did you get this work? Was there similarity here? He says, no, this man gave me. So you, out of your generosity, you will now also be implicated in that process. Out of trying to assist your friend. So now you're also going to be flagged for such things. And also buying of scripts with answers. I think this one was touched by the latter speakers. And also this issue of sharing of assessment answers in Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, and etc. Normally, when students write exams, they mute their Telegram groups normally. And then sometimes they're not muted, those groups or WhatsApp groups, which are not normally regulated well. You share answers there. You share answers. And if now Mr. Jibambu and the other departments, they feel like that there's a problem, and maybe they call you for DC, They say, where do we get these answers? He said, no, there's a group which is there. And I got these answers from there. They will go and check with the participants in that group. They find they find also say you too also. Are you also in it? You say no, they go and check your scripts. If those answers which are discussed in that group are there and appearing on your scripts, you are following suit as well. You are going to appear there. So you must be very careful of sharing of answers in the Telegram groups when you are writing. Just move that group, leave it, write what you must write aside, then we'll be fine. And then how to avoid academic misconduct. Firstly, most students don't even read the tutorial letter on one properly. They just go to the assignments, they go to the section of the prescribed book and the one of the lecture, then they're done. Because let's say, for instance, Sajibambu calls you in for GC. They'll ask you, we've been in the system for 3 years. Now you are doing your 4th year in law. Do you know the tutorial letter? You say yes. They say, do you know about academic misconduct? You say yes or no. If you say no, they'll ask, don't you read the tutorial letter? Because this thing is there at the back. So you mustn't plagiarize, you mustn't do this, mustn't do that. So that tutorial letter thing, you must read it properly, like even with the referencing methods. They are there in the prescribed tutorial letters for specific modules. So you must read that letter thing very seriously, because most of you just see just some paper, but it can also come back and haunt you. Like most of students now, they are haunted by this thing of tutorial letter 101, which is just a simple document, but it can come and haunt you. And then also, do not copy and paste word for word from the materials or anywhere without paraphrasing and giving acknowledgement. Take what you must take, the information that you must take, paraphrase it, and also reference it, because it is not yours, so that you can avoid what academic misconduct. And then avoid using of answers shared in groups during assessments, maybe during exams or during assignment where you must submit. So the more you share answers, and then they can maybe use Turnitin to detect these things of similarity index, and then they find that you are a participant in these groups, you will have a problem. And then also, before I conclude the issue of your AI tools, avoid ChatGPT with your heart and soul, or these things which you just press a topic, they write for you. Even now, this other new one on the, it's called Copilot, something like that, on the edge. You just press the topic, it will write for you properly. You just take it as it is, you paste it there. You will be chopped by Mr. Jibambo when you get to disciplinary. Because that thing, what it does is that it goes around getting random information from different sources, where you come and give one reference at the end. But that thing, if you check it, there are many and hundreds of sources where that thing took that thing from, because it's an AI, it just takes information. Just take one yana, you say this is Mr. Amlamana in 2014, blah, blah, blah. When they get to turn it in, it shows all the sources in one paragraph. There can be 50 sources in one paragraph, but we weren't used to one. So you must avoid this ChatGPT things. You must avoid your Quillbots, because even now Quillbot is in danger now. Hey, they're checking it. So avoid Quillbots, avoid these things of your ChatGPT, avoid Stavia, avoid Gimme News, and these things of SMSs. So I think in a nutshell, Mr. Managing, I'm done. So I get any questions.
No, comrades, are the questions for the GP? I mean, ordinarily, I would understand that you are students, he's a representative of the students, he speaks your voice, so there would not be questions. But let's take questions to him. There are no questions. No, you may take your seat. Yeah, you can do this. Like this. You can give it to me as well. Colleagues, we have arrived. What the session? Because of the time I was stressed, and I just, started shooting straight,
By the way, my name is Kamran Naring. I'm a field development practitioner. I'm a leader of the students. And we're working hand in hand with the national SRC in ensuring that
Colleagues, I'm not sure I'm the only one who does not hear Mr. Monacheng. Mr. Monacheng, please unmute.
Yeah, My sincere apology, colleagues on the online platform. We quickly moved, forgetting about you. You know, these hybrid systems sometimes tend to forget that we are having colleagues who are joining us remotely. But I was just doing a quick recap, colleagues. Hopefully you can hear us. Can you confirm that you are? No, it's fine. Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, no, thanks. So I was highlighting that what we tend to see in the social media platforms mocking the institution, and we as the UNISA student contributing to say that we are shooting ourselves on the foot, you know. And I use the analogy of, you know, what happened or transpired on Twitter to say that the UNISA lawyers are incapable. In fact, when they are taking instructions, they tend to advise the clients to say that just plead guilty or whatnot, or just cry, you know. Yeah. There was one picture that says, no, when we get to court, you must just cry, you know. But what that then do to us, it simply says that there is no potential employer who's going to employ or who'd need the UNISA students or UNISA graduates, simply because of it. There is a picture that paints UNISA as an incompetent institution with questionable, you know, qualifications, you know. So we as the students of UNISA, we have we are duty bound to protect the reputation of the institution, but also to protect and defend the quality of our assessment. So once we transgress and compromise the academic integrity, we are then adding or we are fueling what is already going on to say that you can't get UNISA graduates, you know. You can't go and employ a programmer of UNISA because of the only thing that they know is that they must go use a ChatGPT to do a simple programming code. Or you can't go and get an educator from UNISA. You can't, you know, it simply says that our graduates cannot be employed, you know. So we as the student, whenever such things are casted, we must refute them. Say that, in fact, this is a wrong narration, it's not funny jokes, all those things. Because we are protecting ourselves, you know. There are institutions, for an example, let me give you for an example. If you look at the students in Twitter, you go and check the University of Pretoria student or VET students. You make any joke about their institution, they come on top of your head. They will not meet, they don't even mince their head. They will even tell you, or no, they are the most, you know, the prestigious institution, you know. But instead of doing that, we fuel fire, you know. So that's the essence of all these presenters, what they were trying to do, to say that we have responsibility to ensure that we comply with the tools that are put in place to guard against any form of academic corruption or fraud, or whatever you may call it. I heard Ntate Kokong saying it's a academic matter, you know. We must protect that, but also we must encourage the students to comply with these tools, you know. It saves them. It's not nice, colleagues. I can tell you that these colleagues of us are not enjoying these things of saying we're chopping students. DP normally says they're chopping, they don't play. It's not nice, colleagues, you know. So let us ensure that we avoid, rather at least be flagged for serious things, not for basics, colleagues. You know, things that you are out there, that you could have avoided. And you must pause your career for 3 years or 2 years. And you know, I mean, you know, colleagues, once you get suspended for that period, it's difficult to get back. You know, it's very difficult. And I can tell you, it's cold outside the academic institution. Imagine you are suspended and you can't register anywhere. Your life has stopped. I mean, a junior degree is no longer sufficient to land you a job in the current economic climate. So let us avoid those things. But I'm not sure if there are any comments from the floor for all the presenters. But we have done question and answer sessions. It's just maybe just a reflection if you want to do that. But in absence of that, let me thank all of you colleagues, including the presenters, for your maximum participation, but also the maximum discipline that you've demonstrated to us. But most importantly, the commitment that you've demonstrated. Under normal circumstances, no one would want to leave their comfortable space to come and join such an important engagement, you know. Ordinarily, the hall would be empty. When we started, colleagues, I must be honest, I was very frustrated. I was very disturbed to see that how do we bring this important engagement here and our students are not here, and also the council members, you know. But the chairperson assured me to say that, calm down, we are going to get this thing. Our students will come. We know that it's raining, but we'll get them here and also get them to the online platforms. So thank you very much, colleagues, for that. And my gratitude goes to the council members who've ensured that even when we are, you know, faced with this difficult weather, but we organize. So colleagues, I know that I've indicated that I can speak very long, but I think it's the time where I should leave it here. The chairman has indicated that there are refreshments. So I see the chairman is not in the room. Let's see if my eyes are failing me. Yeah, so I believe that, where's Buffalo? The deputy secretary will guide us from here. See that how we're going to move. But I organize. Yes, that's right. Sure. I deliberately did that. So, colleagues, thank you very much. We adjourn, and then the comrades in the council, the SRC, will guide us in terms of the refreshment, what is going to happen. Thank you very much. Colleagues on the online platform, thank you.